me, as soon as the YouTube pops on, we'll go ahead and take off. There's a lot to cover, especially in light of what's going on. Okay, that's a lot. All right, good morning and welcome back, everybody, to Kids Corner. Today is the 27th of January, and we're going to talk about what's going on literally with all the finances and everything that's going on with where we need to go. So first and foremost, I like to try to get my roll call to make sure I have everybody. Let's see, MJ. Jalen. Kristen, Kayla. Did I miss anybody?
I don't remember you saying my name.
Okay, I believe, yeah, I got you on here. Oh, I know who's missing. All right, so let's go ahead and get it. Welcome back, everybody. Let's start with what's going on around the world and here. First and foremost, the first thing I want to jump on is the urgency to find out how much you have remembered from day one as far as the evolution and where we are right now. Just give me an idea. You don't have to do a whole essay. Just let me know that you're up to speed with where we are as far as this discussion of finance. And you can go one at a time. Didn't think there was going to be a test today, did you?
Is it okay if I start?
Go right ahead.
Um, so far, I remember us talking about the power of money. We went deep into how banking really works, savings, and you had us looking up a few definitions as well of devotion. Um, we went in to what we see ourselves doing with our finances. Um, we also went into being able to cost to what it would cost to finance our dreams, whatever it is that we want to do. We talked a lot about trade and finance. We talked about how that's basically the backbone of finance and how it all started because of trade. And that's really what I remember. We went over purchase power and the cold storages and the evolutions of the next step towards finances.
Perfect. Thank you.
Can I go?
Go right ahead.
So the first day we learned about digital representation and capitalism and the U.S. notary and a letterhead and what the power of money is. And that's it.
That's it. Okay. Good job. Excellent.
Can I go?
Yep.
So what I got was that money is evolving. So it started from quarters, then it went into paper, then now it's digital. Yes. Yeah, it's pretty short, but the main part that I got was evolution.
Okay, that's a good main part. Thank you, MJ.
Can I go?
Yes, please.
I learned that we evolving all of us in each way, but in terms of money, I learned that the dollar has no value and it's going away. Rup- Cryptocurrency is the new currency that is taking over. That's all I got.
Okay, that's it.
Yes.
Perfect.
I also learned about friendship.
Thank you. I was wondering if anybody was going to talk about that one. Great job.
Thank you.
Let's see. Is that everybody? Yeah, I believe that's all. Everybody that's here. Just one moment. I have to put this in here because folks are trying to get in. They want to crash your party. Okay, so today is no different. There's, like I said, a few things that I want to touch on as things sit today. It is going to be a challenge for all of us going forward because of the fact that they are messing with everything. When I say messing with it, there is no real direction as to where the country is going to go and how it's going to get there. What I'd like all of you to start looking at is, it's almost difficult to say it, but you have to look at how you're going to save money. Now, saving money the traditional way was to take it to the bank, put it in an account, and basically sit on it. Well, now that practice is in jeopardy. Now they are trying to do several different things. Let me just put it out there so you understand what's actually being done. So first and foremost, they want a currency that they control. You can write that down. That's the first one. I'm going to make 4 points. And it's vital that you take these points and start working on them now. So that's number one. Number two, they have released technology to get rid of jobs. So let's put number two, AI, artificial intelligence. Now, I know that we've talked about the evolution of what you plan to do with your life 5, 10, 15 years from now, next year. But what I need you to do is understand these 4 steps that I'm going to take you through today. So step number 3, dependency. I'm going to have you write these down, so I need you to write them down for a reason. You're
Excuse
literally,
me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Would you mind repeating the first one for me?
Currency that they control, better known as CDBC. C, D, B as in boy, C. Okay? Currency that they control, that's number one. Number two is AI, artificial intelligence. Number three is dependency. And the last one, and this is the big one, so put a star next to it. Financial literacy. Okay, I wrote mine down. I need you to write yours down. 4 steps or 4 concepts that this call is about today. All right. Now, some of you will hear some things that really don't make sense to you yet, like my really young guys or gals or babies, because you're not into it yet. Go right ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but could you repeat the last one again?
Financial literacy. Got them? I'm going to go over each one so you'll hear it again. So some of you, like I said, like yourself and MJ, Jalen, you guys aren't working yet. Pretty much the rest of you, the only one that's old enough to be in that arena is Jaden, because she's in school, she's already worked. Some of you have already worked. I'm not cutting you out if you have worked, but it's a different kind of work when you're out here trying to pay for your house, your car, keeping your health insurance, keeping all your bills paid, keeping things in order. It's a different kind of work. Some of you, the work that you've done was just to introduce you to getting up and going to work, earning some money so that you could buy the things that you want. Okay. So I'm not discounting if you did have a summer job or a regular job or whatever, but that's totally different from employment. Yes, it's the same thing, but they are definitely different. So let's talk about a currency that they want to control. A currency that they control would be something like, we talked about it a couple of times, but I'm going to break it down a different way today. We know this as a debit card, and this is connected to a bank. And we know that the bank has specific rules of how you use it. You have a checking account, you have a savings account, you have savings instruments. We'll get into that a little bit later. Hold on, this is my sister. All right, that was just an update. My aunt is doing much better, so prayers do work. So a currency that is owned by, I'm going to call this them, bankers. the government, institutions that would step in between you and your money. Okay, that's they. So you're gonna hear me say they. That's who I'm talking about. So when we understand how finances work, as far as what you are allowed to do with your money and what you are not allowed to do with it, that all comes into play when you have an institution that stands in between between you and your money. So let's dig into it. We already know that they have rules of how you use them. When you get old enough and you get ready to, most of you already have your accounts, so it's kind of too late. But when you get older and you have to open your own account from this one, this account that you have now, this is your beginner account. You really didn't do any of the paperwork because you don't have IDs, you don't have a driver's license yet, some of you. So it's kind of was done for you. So it's almost, now moms and dads, don't take this as a slash against you, it's a disservice simply because the proper way to open a bank account is that you get that information and then you read it, all of it. Now, most people, when you open up a checking account or a bank account, you just run in there with your license and you say, here's my license. I want a checking account. And here's $50 or whatever it costs to open the account. Okay, so you go in there, put your license down, put the money down, and sit back. The lady or the man over there at the desk asks a couple questions. What are you going to use the account for? This, that, and the other. They do, their stuff, type it all up, and then it prints it out of the printer. And then they start asking questions. Do you want me to deposit this? Let's say this is a $100 bill. Do you want the whole thing onto your account, or do you want something back? So that's taking you away from what they have already handed you, which is the contract. Okay. Now I'm going to kind of spoiler alert here and give some of it away, but I still want you to take charge of any contracts that you potentially will sign. Remember, the pen, you will hear a statement that the pen, is mightier than the sword. A lot of people make that statement, they use it as reference, but they really don't understand what they're saying. The pen is mightier than a sword, a gun, or an army. It's the strongest thing known to you. Now, why would you say that, Mr. Lewis? Well, simple. Remember when I told you when we got into how contracts happen and what happened to you at your birth, the second you were born? They took, I don't know if they do it now or not. I haven't seen any newborns paperwork, but when I was born, when you were delivered, you are covered in blood. It's all over your hands, it's all over your feet. Now, the second you are born, you're whisked off to another room. They say they're going to go check the baby. The mother's, okay, whatever, it's all over now. It's a very traumatic situation. But they take the baby to the next room. Yes, they clean them up. They do what they're supposed to. But before they clean them up, they pull out a document called a certificate of birth. Okay. And on that certificate states your name, your You know, that's why they ask, what's the name of the baby and all this. They want to know the name so they can tag that certificate. Once they have that information, they take the baby hand and put it on the paper, or they'll take the right foot and stick it to the paper and get a print. It's either, we know it as a thumbprint. We, you know, you hear people say, stick your finger, rub the blood around and mash it on the paper. That's a signature. That is a blood signature. Okay. I'm going to slow down a little bit because I know this is a lot for some of you. Some of my adults didn't know this happened to them. That certificate of live birth with your signature, even though you can't even write yet, but because your hand has print in it, it has fingerprint all in it. If you don't believe me, next time get some ink, put on your hand and just mash it to the paper and pick it up. There's only one of those and it belongs to you. It's the whole palm. Okay. Your foot is exactly the same. The bottom of your foot has a fingerprint just like your thumb. And there's only one, yours. So what they do is get a right hand or left hand, whatever it is, whatever the sequence was back then. They would get that, put it on the paper. I'm just going to take this and say that this, it's a very long piece of paper. It's usually back then was about that long, a sheet and a half to 2 sheets. They had to leave room at the bottom inside of these 2 squares for a hand and a foot. Okay. When they do that, this certificate reads out what you just signed. Okay. It is also known as a bond. Okay. It's a piece of paper similar to the material that they made out of the dollar. Okay. Bond paper is different than regular paper. It has things in it mixed into the actual paper, which makes it a bond. Now, what happens with that? At that very second, they have control of your finances. So you would say, well, what finances? I'm an infant. I was just born. I don't have any money. Really? Remember, the pen is mightier than the sword. I'm going to bring them together. Just give me a minute. So with that document that they now have with your signature on it, they take that document and they file it, send a copy to the Federal Reserve, or actually the orphanage, because that's where they keep all of that. You're an orphan. They own you. That's why there's a certificate above your name. I want you to think about something. And this, like I said, I'm giving you information you're not aware of yet, but at least now you'll know. When you own something, you have a certificate of ownership. Your car, well, not your car, you don't have a car yet, but mom's car, dad's motorcycle, mom's motorcycle, the Winnebago, whatever. If it's a piece of equipment that can be used, 9 times out of 10, there's a certificate of ownership. When you go, actually, there's certain things that have certificates, even inanimate objects like Rolex, because it's such a expensive thing. You get a certificate of ownership of that thing because it can be sold later on for a higher price. Listen to the words. It can be sold for a higher price as long as we have what? A certificate of ownership. Now, I'm going to bring it all together. I know this is a lot, first thing in the morning. a currency that they control. You thought I was talking about money, didn't you? You thought I was talking about your bank account. You thought I was talking about your debit card. No, my sweethearts, I'm talking about you. When they made this certificate with your signature on it, at the very top of it, the words mean everything. Certificate of birth. Who issued the certificate? Who gave this? Who came up with this piece of paper? The first question, or somewhere along the first block of information of any application you do, it says, what's your date of birth? Right? It's in that application when you go for your bank account. What's your date of birth? You put it down. Yeah, I was born on this day, that. Where were you born? Ding, ding, ding. I want you to think about it for a second. Where were you born? Most of us would just answer that question. Oh, I was born in Detroit. I was born in Minneapolis. I was born in Kentucky, right? Now watch this. Full circle. Who owns you? The state to which you were born. The state issued a piece of paper that says certificate. It doesn't say of ownership. They don't have to put that. It says certificate of Maryland, Detroit, wherever you were born. That's who owns you. God, it's sad when information is brought forth so that you truly understand it. Number one was a currency that they control. Now, it goes even deeper. Now that you know that you thought you were just born in that state or that city, little did you know that they already own you from the second you were born. This certificate of live birth is a bond, and that bond was put into a bank at a specific amount. They put a price on you. Most of them are $500,000. $500,000. Because you're now born, you're breathing, and they own you. They have paperwork that you signed before you even knew your own name. You signed a contract. That contract is being used all over the world. Your name, your social security number, and this certificate made the rich mega rich. It made wars. It gave ammunition to fight the wars. You bought bridges. You bought companies. They have made massive amounts of money off of your certificate that you signed, that you had no idea happened. So when I say a currency that they control, I'm talking about you. And not just the babies on here. Everybody, including yours truly. If you have a birth certificate in this country, you have a bond. And that bond has been making money since the day you were born. Have you ever heard somebody say, would you rather have $1 million because I said it to you? Or would you like to have a penny doubling for 30 days, 1 month? Which would you take? Most would say, give me the $1 million. I can go get my house. I can go pay my bills. I could do all the things I need to do. Guess which one they took? These guys took the 500,000 doubling every day. It's called compounding. Now, if you have $500,000 compounding every day since the day you were born, do the math. All you have to do is do the math. $500,000 times 2 times how many years you've been alive. Doubling every day. It's a very large number. And they've been controlling it all of your life, and they will continue controlling it because one of your past Congress people, known as Miss Hillary Clinton, brought up litigation and brought up a law to state it is a felony for you to go after what they created without your knowledge. I told you it's going to be crazy. So they've been controlling that money all of your life. So why is a signature worth so much money? Or why is it so powerful? Simple. Every time you sign something, okay? Every time you sign something and put your signature on a contract, if there's 1 page, 4 pages, 5 pages, 6 pages, watch this. I'm going to show you how powerful you are. Let's just say, and I just did it here, you buy a house. Or let's start off simple. Let's go all the way back to most of you are going to buy your first car, right? You're going to get a car. You're going to be excited. You're going to be so happy. You have the means to do it, right? Now I'm going to show you how evil they are. And you should not trust them ever, because everything they do is against you, and the use of you is called usury. So let's say that car is, most first-time car people really don't have real good driving skills yet, so they're not going to go out and get a Bentley. You shouldn't get a really expensive car for your first car until you really are comfortable driving. This is just some advice from someone a little older than you. I know you want really nice things. Yes, have them. But don't go to the top with your first, because you're going to hit something. You're going to run up on the curb a couple times. You're going to, get too close to something, scratch the car. It's okay if it's a clunker. It's okay. Until you learn, you have to evolve. Please, if you don't understand anything that I teach you, understand that what we do as humans is evolve. You don't stay the same unless you're a vegetable. And even a vegetable, a person that doesn't move, can't talk, can't do nothing, they're just alive, they still grow. Their body grows, their hair grows, they're still doing things, they just can't move or say anything, but they're alive. So your first car should be we'll just pick a number, $10,000. Okay? You have a job at, and do not take anything that I'm saying as what you're going to do. I just need to have something so you can go along with me. Let's say you're working at McDonald's. Okay? Working at McDonald's. You only make $600 a week. Okay? Right now, I think that's about what they're doing. We're not going to get into the particulars. Let's just say 600. We'll say $300 because you're a kid. $300 a week. Then they're going to take taxes. So $245. $245 a week. Out of 1 month, how much money have you made? $800. Okay? We're just going to keep it simple. The car is going to cost $10,000. So you go to the dealership and hopefully you follow the plan that I've laid out for you, which is purchase order, then purchase. With the purchase order, you're going to see how much this car is going to cost you. You're not going to have credit for the most part. You will, but just go along with me. You won't have really strong credit yet, so you're going to have to get a co-signer, someone, mom, dad, uncle, brother, older sister, older brother, says, I'll sign for you, make sure you got a car so you can get back and forth to work, this, that, and the other. Now, when you're sitting in the dealership, what are they going to do? They're going to talk to you. They're going to, you want to test drive it? Yeah, let's test drive. You go out, test drive it. Yeah, I like it. They sit down to the desk. Now, they're going to ask all these crazy questions, this, that, and the other, to determine, can you afford it? Or how much money do you have? You know, that whole game. Let's say you saved up, or mom and dad or big sister put some money together, and you have $1,000 to put on your brand new clunker. It's brand new to you. So you have 1,000. You can show that you work at McDonald's and you make this much a week. You have a total of 800 for the month. So they're going to say debt to income ratio. Please remember that word. So let's write that one down. That's going to be one that you're going to look up. Debt to income ratio. Debt to income ratio is going to follow you for the rest of your life. So we're going to make sure it's completely tight. But let's say, for argument's sake, that you're sitting there, they're going through all this. Okay, Mr. Lewis, you're working at McDonald's, and looks like you have $1,000 to put on your car, and seeing that your income for the month is $800. So you don't have any bills yet. You stay with your parents. So we're going to take, listen to the words I'm saying to you. We're going to take 1/3 of your income. 1/3 of your income. You have to do some math. Life is math. I've heard people say, why do I have to take calculus? Why do I have to take algebra? I'm not going to use that out there. Really? You think not? Trust me, study, because you're going to use everything that they are teaching you out here. Most of it. I really would like to teach, because I would teach totally different. But anyway, different story. Stay on track. Debt to income ratio means how much debt do you have against the income that you have in? What's the number in between? What can you afford to pay for and still live? How much can I take out of your income to let you have something, whatever that is? Debt to income ratio. Please remember, and look that word up. We're going to talk about it next week. So back to the story. You're sitting there. They say, okay, we're going to take a third of your income and we're going to take a chance on you. They want you to get the car anyway. They're going to try to make you think they don't want your business, but they do. And I'm going to explain why. Always remember, no matter what you do in the financial industry, anything financed, there's going to be some kind of paperwork. There's going to be some kind of contract. There's going to be some kind of agreement. Okay? Very little transactions that you do or will do won't have paperwork. There'll be something you got to check box, sign, whatever. So most contracts can be anywhere from 6 pages to 25 pages. Someone pick a number between 6 and 25.
13.
13. All right. So write down 13. All right. Now remember, I need you to do math. And I want to make sure that we're on point. So I'm going to do it first. And I'm going to scare you into understanding how evil these people are. Now, remember the original certificate of live birth. You have money. Remember, it was $500,000, doubling every day since the day you have been alive. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So now you're sitting at the dealership, and let's say you have your checking account, and they're going to do a loan at the check or your bank for you to buy this car, right? Or they might finance it at the place that you buy it. For a car at that price, usually they'll finance it themselves. They want to finance it themselves once I explain to you what's going to happen. So they'll say, okay, Mr. Lewis, you're 17. Looks like you've been at McDonald's for 2 years. Good job for keeping your job for any length of time. It's always, how long did you work there? Are you reliable? Are you going to pay for this car? They're going to ask all those questions. Got to make sure you make your payments on time. If you want to keep your credit good, make all your payments early or on time, right? Remember me talking about that? The sub accounts, assign an account to make those payments on time every time. This stuff is coming full circle. All right, let's stay on topic. So we have 13 documents in this contract to buy this brand new clunker. Don't take that the bad way. You have to learn how to drive. And I would suggest, highly suggest, get a clunker because you're going to make mistakes. Hopefully not drastic ones, but trying to learn how to parallel park. You're going to scrub that tire back there. Trust me. Unless you practice to where you could almost do it with your eyes closed, you're still going to scrub that tire. You don't want to scrub a rim on an $80,000 vehicle because the rim is probably $500 by itself. You're going to get too close to something somewhere. Shopping cart, another car, bushes. Bushes will destroy a paint job. You may not think so, but they will put scratches down the whole length of your vehicle. The branches are very hard. Start with a clunker. So now we have 13 documents for a clunker at the dealership that you are going to finance through the dealership. And they say, okay, sign here. We're going to get the contract. So they set it down in front of you. Sign here, initial here, assign here, sign here, sign here. Initial this, put your name right here, sign over here, and this one right here, right? At the very top of each one of those pieces of that document that they sit down in front of you, you're going to see the name of the company. You're going to see what it is that you're purchasing, the price of it, and the date that you did this, right? It's going to all look normal. You're buying it from that company. You're buying it from the company that is financing it, so they're in control. Remember the words control. They are in control of how much money is being moved on your behalf. So you sign. Oh, I'm getting ready to get a car. Get ready to get a car. You're signing. Ain't read a thing. Sign, sign. Where else I sign? Sign right here. Okay. Sign this, sign that. Here. You give it back. And they will say, thank you. You'll never see it again. You'll get a receipt. And they're going to tell you, well, you make your first payment on such and such day of such and such month. Your payments are going to be $306. Okay? Out of the 800, 1/3 is $300. Now, you're happy. They hand you the keys. Of course, you have to get insurance. That's some more money out. But it was enough for you to get the car insurance. That's all they care about. They're going to make you get full coverage because they want it protected. So when you tear it up, they still get paid for that vehicle. Okay? Now, let's back up just a little bit. Remember that piece of paper that you were so eager to sign? Sign, 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 sign. Now, here's where, when I first started, the pen is mightier than the sword. Now watch this. You signed 13 documents for a vehicle that costs $10,000. For each document that your signature is on at the bottom and at the top, a letterhead. Remember this? Purchase order? What's on the purchase order? The letterhead, the company that's selling it. And the body is going to be what they're selling, right? Then over here, you're going to see the taxes and all this other stuff that they add in. And then you're going to see the total, right? That is what's known as a purchase order. You don't sign a purchase order, but you can get one, and this information is on there. Flip the script, you go buy a car. What's going to be on the document? The letterhead of the company selling it, and the body is going to be what they're selling, a 2016 whatever. Over here, you're going to see the total. You're not going to see taxes. You're not going to see none of that. You're going to see $10,000. That's what they sold it for, right? Everybody, get your calculator out. And you're going to put 10,000 times 13. Somebody tell me what that total is.
130,000.
Beautiful. Now, I guess you're trying to figure out, what are you talking about, Mr. Lewis? Because I'm completely lost. You said the car was $10,000. You said that all I had to do was sign the contract. What I didn't tell you is that each time you sign a contract and there's a letterhead, the company's selling it, there's a body telling you what it is they're selling, and there's a total somewhere on that paper. It doesn't have to be at the bottom. It could be in the body. We're selling, I don't know, let's call it Kia Motors is selling this used vehicle for $10,000. They have to put it in the paperwork so that they can get paid for it, right? Now let's back up. Remember I said the certificate of birth, your signature, has a lot of money behind it. It was created at birth. Put your handprint and your footprint on that certificate of live birth. That dealership can monetize. Now, this is a new word. Let's put that one down. Monetize. Monetize means that they can take a piece of paper, submit it to the Secretary of State, where they hold that bond in your name. And that dealership can monetize all 13 documents that you signed for $10,000 each. What? Yes, they can get $10,000 because it's in the body of that document, the contract that you signed. You signed $10,000 13 times. Now, they just received or will receive $130,000 out of your account that you don't have access to. Ms. Clinton made sure that you don't have access to that money. They just withdrew $130,000 to their company on your behalf, or because you signed a document that they could monetize. I ain't done yet. Remember, I said that now that you signed for this car, you have to pay 1/3 of your income to this company for that car. I want to see how many of you caught that. I'm not going to say another word. Does anybody see what just happened? If so, please explain it to me. Anybody? If you don't know, say I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
They're getting,
I don't know.
I know the answer.
Go
They're
right
getting
ahead.
paid 2 ways, by the bank account and by me.
Kayla, please say that again so everybody can hear you.
They are getting paid 2 ways. One way is by the bank account, and the other way is by me.
Now, how horrible is that? So now that you understand what happens, I'm going to break it down so you can see it. Your birth certificate has an account with billions, millions, hundreds of thousands, millions in it. You don't have access to it. You won't. That's an inside job that they have done to all of us, not just you, to all of us. There's money there. When you signed for it, they got paid 13 times for that one car, 10,000 times, or $10,000 13 times. So that dealership receives $130,000 for that clunker, that one sitting out there that you just bought, paid for. Before you even leave the desk, it's happening in your signature. Every time you sign, it was $10,000. Now, they don't tell you that. You're happy, you got the keys, you know, they vacuum it out, they put some gas in it, they tell you, oh, great, you can make your payments here, or you can mail them in, or you can send a check, or, you know, we can do a debit on your account. How do you want to pay for it? And you're like, oh, well, yeah, here's 1,000. That's party money for them. Thank you. Took that. You didn't bring it down. It'll show that you put 1,000 to it, but that's all digital. Okay, that could be manipulated at any time. It's just numbers. Digits. Digital. Please listen. Digital. Now, you go out, get in the car, on your way. You get to the house. Look, everybody, I got a car. I got a car. You tell all your friends, yeah. 1 month later, payment time. You have to take some of your McDonald's money, some of your birthday money, and you have to make a payment on that car. You make your payment. You're so happy. I got the money here. Here's my payment. And let's say, I don't know, you get 3 years to pay for it. So you're going to take 1/3 of your money for 3 years, paying for a car that you already paid for 13 times in full. Did it sink in yet? Does anybody understand what I just said?
Yes.
It is called usury. Comment? Did you want to say something, Jasmine?
Yes, thank you. I'm over here screaming. So not only did it sunk in, it hurts because I heard this stuff years ago and I was so angry. And it made me feel like, why are we paying bills then? Because they've been paid. All the banks, they all do it. The mortgage, all those signatures and that at that attorney's table. One question I do have for you is, do you believe that all the nurses, the doctors who take the baby out the room, do you believe they're in on that?
Yes.
But didn't they have to go through that process when they were a baby?
Yes. Yes, that's why they do it. For every one that they do and they process, they get paid. There's money in it. The medical industry is not medical. It's money.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people think, I got to go to the doctor to get better. I got to go to the doctor to get this. I got to go to the doctor. Because that's what they tell you.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get to the hospital or the clinic or whoever, what's the first thing they ask for?
Your social security number.
So all the services that you had done that day was paid for times however many times you signed.
Yeah.
But then they say, oh, what's the next question?
Next question usually is your personal information, your name and all of that. And I always wondered, why do they need my mother's maiden name? They want to make sure I'm the correct person.
There's one more piece in there that they
Date
need.
of birth. Date of birth.
Mm-mm.
ID? Driver's license?
Insurance.
Oh, your insurance. So they could get paid 3-4 times.
4 times.
4 ways, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where's all this money coming from that everybody's getting paid?
Yeah. Your certificate of birth.
Your signature.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because when you got the insurance, even if it's at the job, you had to sign your insurance, right?
Yeah.
When you go to the clinic, You had to sign something when you went there. They're getting paid off of your signatures, however many you did. They're getting paid off of your signatures. They charge them for your services that they pull again for them out of your money.
Mm-hmm.
You just went and got a tooth pulled. You paid 90 times for whatever it costs to get that tooth pulled. Sometimes 100 times.
Mm-hmm. So you think car salesmen know about this information?
No, their owners do. It goes
The
up.
owners, I got
Yeah,
you.
it
Okay,
goes up. It's in
all
the
right.
upper
They're not gonna tell
echelon.
the people about this.
Yeah, don't even bother.
Right, okay. All
I
right.
want my babies here to understand the concept
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so that when they get into life, per se, they'll have a little bit more understanding. To don't so freely give this up.
Yeah.
Okay? If you can do it without using this, that's why we're on this call. I'm going to show you.
Okay.
All right. So now that you know, number one, a currency that they control is you. You are the currency, your signature, the fact that you're alive. You are the currency. How do they control it? Because they make you sign for stuff. They know they can monetize your signature against your bond. And then on top of getting paid over there, they give you a bill and say, now you have to pay for whatever this is, even though it's already paid for multiple times. Usury is real. And when you understand it, it makes you very angry that we live in a country that calls itself the land of the free. That's fraud. Okay, that's what we're fighting. Let's move on. Number two, we'll be on here all afternoon, but I had to hit these 4 things today because it's happening right now. You have to see what is happening. All right? Watch this. Now, you had COVID-19, right? Everybody remembers that foolishness. COVID-19. You had people's minds altered over a simple word and 2 letters. You had people think that it was the worst thing that has ever happened to us. You had people thinking, oh, you have to follow the rules of what they say. Oh, you have COVID-19. You have this. You need to do what? Go get a vaccination. Really? For what? Nobody questioned that. No one really asked, what is COVID-19? And if you did ask, you were killed. Or you lost your practice. Some doctors did ask, wait a minute, what is this? Remember from step 1 that they control. When COVID-19 happened, they stopped people from working. Oh, you're sick, stay home. We'll give you some money. We'll give you unemployment. You stay to the house. Meantime, you're at the house, you sitting around. What should I do? What can I do? I chew. I can't smell. I can't taste. Let me explain something to you so you don't go on in your life listening to them. For as long as we have been alive, there's things called viruses. There are things called germs. if you should happen to live in a climate where you have all 4 seasons, or fly to a different place from your climate, the body is a system. And if you take water and put it in the gas tank, the car stops. Watch this. If you live in a warm climate like Florida, it's warm all the time, it's really nice, it's that and the other. And you come up Christmas and your parents live in, I don't know, let's just go as far as North Carolina. That's still too warm. We'll just take it to the extreme where I'm from. You're gonna go visit your parents or your uncle or your aunt in Detroit, okay? Around wintertime. You live in a climate that's warm. You're gonna go visit someone that lives in an iceberg because it's cold in Detroit in the wintertime. So from 90 degrees to 13 degrees, you have upset your system. And what do you catch? That's you. You catch a cold, right? When you catch a cold, you can't smell because your sinus cavity is full of mucus and whatever else. And you can't taste because you can't smell. You get sleepy, your body's achy, your nose runs, your eyes run, you want to sleep all the time because everything's hurting. Your system is upset. Now, if you ignore the fact that you caught a cold and go outside and continue going outside, the cold escalates into another thing called a flu. A flu is a lot worse. Flu makes you throw up, upset stomach, you can't see, noise hurts your ears. It's just the worst. The mucus is multiplied. It's in your lungs, it's in your chest, it's in your nasal. You don't want to eat anything. It's a horrible feeling. So there's two versions. There's a cold, and then there's the flu. When COVID came out, or so-called came out, what were the symptoms? Does anybody know the symptoms of COVID?
I know that you lost your sense of taste, and I can't remember the other ones. Oh, and smell.
Achoo, achoo. Right? Loss of taste, loss of smell, achy, and full of mucus. What is that? I just went over it. What is that?
A cold.
Thank you. Or the flu. Cold or flu. Tell me how, and I'm going to explain how they control. How did the same symptoms become something completely different? Or did it? What are the symptoms of a cold or flu? What are the symptoms of supposedly COVID-19? They're exactly identical. You know what the difference is between these two situations? Them putting it in your ear that you have something that's going to kill you. You have this monstrous thing that came from here, came from there, came from this person, came from that animal, bats and dogs and cats and Willy Wonkers. It's just a cold. But as long as someone's putting it in your ear, you're seeing it on TV, in your ear, requirements at buildings. You have to put on a mask. You have to wash your hands. Don't cough. Don't sneeze. You see where I'm going with this?
Mr. Lewis, can I excuse for 1 minute? Just just to confirm what you're saying, I can use myself as an example. I have fallen in the category of having COVID on 2 occasions, but I've never had any of the symptoms that goes with COVID, with the exception of having done the test on one occasion where they said that it was positive, which was the first time. Then again, okay, fine, I went living my life merrily. Of course, I had to take time off from work because, quote unquote, I had COVID. I never had a cold. I never had a cough. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So, of course, I was happy to stay home for a couple of days.
Sure.
Oops, I'm at work, so let me hide a little. To stay at work home for a couple of days, which was fine. Then, about just 3 weeks ago, back at my workplace, a couple of people had COVID. Again, I have no symptoms, nothing. No cold, no sneeze, absolutely nothing. No fever, nothing. But with the test being done, it says that I was positive.
Of course.
And I'm sharing a bed with my husband, my daughter, and in the house together. None of them have any COVID. None of them are tested positive. But I am tested positive. And guess what? For 1 day.
You just proved my point.
So what you're saying, you're just right on the button. And mind you, I have to say, I have all of the vaccines in my system. Every single one of them in my system.
Mm.
So, gone with the wind.
First, I'm going to say this.
Two pieces.
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to mean every word I'm going to say to you. Do not worry. The battle is not over. The education has started. People are waking up. The battle is not over, and I'm going to hit it on this next one. But you have absolutely proved my point that the things that I say do not come from me. They come from the Creator, even when I'm teaching. I have to speak the truth, whether they like it or not.
I'm in total agreement with you because I am a living testament of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, because of what you hear, like she said, oh, we're going to test you. You have COVID. Just out of the blue, you have this. It's supposed to be highly contagious. She's around her whole family. Nobody got sick. So they lie. They lie. They lie. So let's look at this. So COVID came. Everybody lost their jobs. Everybody's sitting at the house. Oh, we'll take care of you. We'll take care of you. All of a sudden, oh, by the way, we're not going to give you unemployment no more. What do you mean? You took me from my job.
Oh, you're right. Excuse me again. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
And I was happy to be home during the time, but guess what? I didn't get paid. So I spent 4 days at home 3 weeks ago, no pay, because, quote unquote, I have COVID, which was tested positive in truth and in fact for 1 day, because day 2, there was no sign of it again.
Because it was never there in the first place. Okay, that's why I said, don't worry. It's not over. But thank you for proving points going forward. They made people stop their work, so that shortened the work people. Then they said, stay home, we'll give you unemployment. don't worry, you'll get through this. Okay, great, great, great. Then they said, oh, no more unemployment. Now you're at home, no more job, still have bills, and no money. Upset the apple cart. Now, number two, AI. What are you hearing all over the internet? I just looked at, and I prove what I say, as you see. I just looked at a program that I can do selling audiobooks. This is the layout that I watched. Selling audiobooks on Amazon. I'm going to do this because this is what's happening. AI, artificial intelligence, is here. It's here. There are people walking among us that are AI. They look just like you. They sound just like you. They have bodies. And they're in very particular places. Police department, fire department, Congress, and all the places where they need full control. You have AI in place. There was a video someone sent me, and I'll get it, about a lifeguard. I think Winnie sent it to me. Lifeguard that was at the pool malfunctioning. It was a lady, and she was going through all the movements, just like a robot. No control, lost control. But if you didn't know it, if she didn't lose control, you would look at her like it's just a lifeguard sitting up there. It's just a police officer, just a firefighter, right? You cannot tell unless they break. So you have to be very vigilant on who you're talking to, watch them, make mistakes and see if they catch it. It's very hard to trick a computer, but you have to be in touch with this. This is why I'm teaching you this stuff early, because it's happening right now. When I find that video, I will put it up, and I'll get a copy of it to share it with you. As a matter of fact, I think if you look it up on YouTube, Lifeguard AI, just put those two together. You'll see her. She's in red. There's a lady with her two daughters using explicit language, but mute it and watch it for the youngins. But everybody else, put in Lifeguard AI. I think it brings it up. But AI is now taking over the employment side of our world, not just the country, our world. So if you were given a virus, supposedly, you were given a way to go home and not have to work, okay? You were then told that you don't have any more substance coming from us. We're not going to help you anymore. Even though we took you out of your employment, we made sure that you are sick or think you're sick. Notice I said think. And then put you at the house and then take your money away from you. Your bills are still coming. You still owe, but you have no income. And AI is now taking over the job because a computer can do it better than you. Where does that leave you? Takes you right into number 3, dependency. Now, AI, you can do all the research you want. Like I said, this job with Amazon is AI. You put the information in, it sells the books. Who's going to buy books? People. People like to read. People love to read. I'm one of them. but it's something that you don't have to do. It's a job that AI does for you, and you get paid. But let's look at number 3. And all of this is leading up to this. Number 3 is dependency. So remember I said when they laid everybody off, you had to do what? File for unemployment. Ask them for money. Ask them for food. Ask them for daycare. Ask them for gas. Ask them for insurance money. Ask them for the health insurance. Ask them for everything. Ask over and over every day. Every day that you wake up, a new bill has started. Every day that you lay down and go to sleep, 2 more are going to be waiting for you when you wake up. So what do you have to do tomorrow? Ask, can I have? Ask. That's called dependency on a system that is in control of you. So if you don't have the employment, if you don't have the money, if you don't have a way to get it, you're dependent on the system that's controlling you. Sick, isn't it? That's a lot of doom and gloom. Number 4, and I'm gonna let y'all go for today. But you do have 2 homework assignments: debt to income ratio and monetization of a note or a document, or just monetize. The last one is very important. That's why you put a star next to it. So you should have these 4 things written down, because I'm going to go back over it. A currency that they control, number 1. Number 2, AI. Number 3, dependency, which we are all dependent on Washington, D.C. Number 4, I'm going to hit, and this is where this class comes into play: financial literacy. You have to know your finances. You have to be in control of your finances. You cannot put it in the hands of someone else and then ask them, can you use it? Financial literacy is being able to navigate the financial world. Number 1, where's your money coming from? What do you plan on doing that is going to put money in your pocket? Number 2, how are you going to receive that money? What are you going to do with it when you get it? If we're still using banks at that time, you're going to have a traditional bank, but you're also going to own your bank. You're going to use both, depending on what happens. If you're using a traditional bank, remember main account, sub accounts. So you can decide who's getting what from you. You decide when those payments are made, because you are in control of those accounts. Remember, the sub accounts pay your bills. If you have, like Jaden, she has dorm tuition, she has school tuition, she has books and supplies, she has transportation. You got to go from from school to home, home to school, and moving around. So she has different things that she's going to be paying for on a monthly basis. Each thing that you have to put money to should be a sub account in a traditional bank. So that institution can make your payments on time and you never are late. If we stay in this financial understanding, but I know for a fact it's going to evolve. Everything evolves. But we have to understand where we are right now. That's banks. Okay, let's not be naive. You still got PNC down. I still use my accounts Okay, we're still in that. So you have to understand it. Main account never pays for anything. It sends the money down to the sub accounts, and each sub account takes care of one bill. That's money management. The sooner you learn that and the better you are at it, they will never be able to control how you use your money because you're telling them how you decide to use your money. Okay? You have to understand how to use a bank. Use the systems that they put in place. And it's okay to get a credit card, but you have to use it wisely. Credit card is like at the very bottom in case all of this fails, which it shouldn't. It should be a backup, but you have to use it every now and again to keep it live. And sometimes to increase it, you have to use it. Be smart about it. Use it once a year. Christmas, right? Buy a gift, pay it off. One of those sub accounts is going to pay the credit card bill. You see how that works? And they're going to see it because it's inside of the bank. They're going to see, Jaden spends this much out of this account and it never buys anything else. It just pays the electric. Wonder what she's doing. She also has an account over here because they can see what you're doing. Don't think they can't. She also has this account over here that pays for books. I wonder what she's doing. They don't even know how to do this. And they work in the bank. The last bank I went to, I told the teller I need to open up 13 sub accounts. She looked at me like I was crazy. 13 sub accounts? What are that? What's that? Really? She had to ask me what a sub account was, and she works for the bank. What the living hell? Okay? So understand how the bank works. Use the bank to your advantage. Understand how to make those sub accounts pay your bills. Don't pay bills out of your main account. The main account should never, ever pay a bill. Ever. That's how you protect it. If you're paying bills, you're paying it online, or if you're shopping, remember you're going to have one sub account for shopping. You're going to have one sub account for gifting or donation. That shopping account is down here. It's not the main account, it's a sub account down here. So if someone hacks, I don't know, Walmart, they're only going to get that sub account number. They're not going to get main account. That's how you protect your cards. You don't have to worry about getting hacked. But if you use that main account to pay for stuff, they have your main account. Words, please listen to the words. You want them to use, or if they're going to steal something, let them get a sub account that only gets a little bit of money at a time and is not connected directly to main account. All of those accounts are going to have savings accounts. Make sure when you open these sub accounts that they have savings accounts. You're going to push the money to the savings accounts and leave it there and move it over to the checking account when it's time to pay that bill. You see what I'm doing, right? Out of the saving, into the checking, pay the bill. There's no money sitting in the checking account. So if they do hack or try to get that account, they're not going to see anything. They'll move on to the next person. They'll move over here to, I don't want to pick on one of you. I'm just going to pick a name out of Mary, wasn't paying attention in the class. And she left all of her money in the main checking account, and she went to Barnes and Nobles and bought something with the card. So the guy that's stealing and hacking sees this account number. Oh, there's an account number. Ooh, it has 3,000. Withdraw. Now Mary has nothing. Please remember that. Main account, sub accounts, all with savings accounts. When you push it to that account, whatever, push it to the savings account to that one. Stay on top of your bill payment times. Each bill has a specific date and time that you are supposed to pay it. Whatever date they give you, do it 3 days prior. Even though it's electronic and happens within seconds, pay the bill 3 days prior to the actual date. Set it up as an automatic debit. Okay, you have control of that bank. You have control of how it sends money, how it receives money, what you do with it. Do not allow them to tell you how to use your checking account, your banking account. Okay? Financial literacy means understanding these concepts. That's the traditional bank. Let's move over to your bank, your wallet. The financial literacy side to that is that you will have a wallet with debit capability. That means you can go buy things with this debit card. Can it be hacked? Absolutely. Should you leave $10,000 on this card? Absolutely not. Would you keep it on your other account? Would you keep $10,000 in your checking account? Absolutely not. So what do I do with it, Mr. Lewis? Well, you're going to use your wallet to get the source in, and then you're going to send it where? To your bank. Remember, you're going to be a bank owner. It's the difference between using a bank and sub-accounts. You will be the bank owner. You will move those funds to your bank. Your bank. Say, I am the bank owner. The more times you say something, the more times it'll come true. Every morning from now on, when you wake up, after you say your prayers for being able to wake up, say, I am the bank owner. That's called manifesting. If you speak it, you put it into the universe. If you feel it in your heart, then it's going to come true. So now you have to understand how to use it. Remember the document, purchase order? Remember that? That's how you use your bank. Everything you purchase is going to be done on a purchase order first to find out what you got to pay. How much is it? What's the tax? What's the bottom line? So when you have source on your wallet, let's say your purchase order is $10,000. Let's say you have $35,000 on your wallet because you just moved it there. You moved $35,000 on here. You have a purchase order for your new car for $10,000. This is how you don't sign paperwork. Watch. You have a purchase order for that vehicle. A purchase order, not a contract. You go back, or you get 35 on here, you're going to put 25 or 22 in your bank. You're going to put it in your own bank. You're going to leave 12,000 on your card. You're going to go back to the dealership with that purchase order and put it on the counter and say, you know what? I'll take that car. And they'll say, okay, Mr. Lewis, but you said you worked at McDonald's. I do. You want to do you want us to write it up? You want to make a loan on it? You want to finance it? Nope. I'll just take care of that right now. Here's the purchase order. Beep. Now, what's the difference in that transaction than the one that I explained earlier? One piece of paper that says what it is, who's selling it, what it is, and a total. Did you have to sign it? No. Can they monetize it? No. Why? Because you didn't sign it. If you bring in a receipt and say, I want this, Here's the price. Bring it up. They put everything in, and you put your card up, and it goes beep. You just purchased a vehicle. Now, they're going to be upset, and they're going to try to stop you from doing that and say, well, let's go ahead and write it up. No, no, no. I have everything here. You have everything here. This is the vehicle that I've looked at with you, talked about. This is the price you said. I want to pay for this vehicle. I don't need to finance today. Don't be nasty. Just tell them you're in control. Tell them I'm going to purchase this vehicle that I have on this purchase form. Do you want to sell it or not? They're either going to say yes or no. If they say, well, we need to write it up, leave. Just leave. I assure you they won't let you get in that car. Walk slow. Financial literacy, when you know what you know and you don't go in there, oh, can I buy a car from you? I'll do whatever you say. I'll sign everything. Then they will take full advantage of you. If you walk in there and say, yeah, Mr. Keith, this was the purchase order that we wrote up the other day. I'll go ahead and take that vehicle today. Notice I said take, not finance, not write up a contract. They have to write a bill of sale, but that's it. Because you're going to take the purchase order. That's really the bill of sale, and you pay for it. No documentation. Don't sign anything. There's no need. They have a product for sale. It's written up with the amount. You have the funds to do so on your card. You pay for it. They hand you the keys. There's no monetization of your signature. Okay? That's going to be the class for today because I'm running late for Adult Crypto. Before I shut it off, is there any questions what I've gone over so far?
Yes,
Yeah,
I have one. Sorry.
sorry. I have a quick question, Mr. Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you feel about the electronic signature? Because nowadays I have to sign everything electronically.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, anytime you sign, it's your signature, whether electronic or wet ink, it's the same.
Okay.
Sometimes you won't be able to get around it until we get you established. All of you, once, and the rest adults too. Once you're established and you have the literacy and understand how to work in this arena, then everything changes. Because you won't put your signature on things freely. You're going to pay for it in full with their monies or whatever they have in place. Any other questions? There was another question.
Mr. Lewis, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So, do you believe the state ownership of me is based on not knowing God because I believe God owns me?
Well, unfortunately, yes. Do believe in God, the creator. But as far as where we are in this realm down here with these people, they have ownership. You have a birth certificate. Anytime there's a certificate, that means ownership. The name at the top of that certificate is the owner. State of Maryland, state of Kentucky, state of Detroit or Michigan, state of whatever state you live in. That certificate, if you look at it, I asked Mom to bring out your birth certificate. At the top, it's going to say certificate or certificate of live birth or birth certificate And below it, with the stamp, their signature. Notice they don't use signatures. Some of them they do, but they use a stamp. And that stamp is a signature without being monetized. That's another conversation. But if you look at your birth certificate, it will say the state or the city, mostly the state of where you live. They own you. Don't think of it like they can, it's money, the money side of you they own, not the physical living blood you. Okay? I should have made that difference. There's the money side of you, and there's the physical blood you. They own the money side. Okay? But they do have a lot of control over the physical too. We'll talk about that another time. Any other questions?